Hello, welcome to At Risk International's weekly insight briefing. I'm Roman Fisher, Detective Intelligence Analyst with the Global Risk Intelligence team, joined by Ross Hill, Director of Intelligence. Getting started for you today. Recently, NBC News published a report highlighting an investigation by the Senate Homeland Security Committee that alleges that federal law enforcement and leading social media companies are not adequately addressing the growing threat of domestic terrorism, and in particular, especially when it comes to white supremacy and anti-government groups. A majority of the committee members agree that the FBI and Department of Homeland Security have not effectively allocated resources to match the growing threat, and also they've failed to track and report data on domestic terrorism incidents. The report criticized the FBI and DHS as having been too conservative in developing threat intelligence based on social media content. The committee investigation found that social media companies have inadequately addressed the growing presence of extremism on their platforms. Additionally, the committee members or the report had stated that the business models of big companies like Meta, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube are more focused on maximizing user engagement, growth, and profits, which unfortunately incentivizes extreme content. The report states that although predominant platforms have a range of policies aimed at addressing extremist and hateful content, that the content still is prevalent on all of the major platforms. Finally, the growing threat of domestic terrorism will require an increasing number of resources to effectively combat in the future. Unfortunately, the policy recommendations listed in the report from the Senate committee were described as simply vague. And I will now pass you off to Ross Hill. Ross.
Thanks, Roman. So update for Ukraine, where the current most significant concern is shelling at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station over the weekend. That reportedly came within meters of safety and security systems. UN experts hoping to visit the plant today to assess the damage. The International Atomic Energy Agency reported there was damage to the plant in several places. That includes a radioactive waste and storage building, a cooling pond, sprinkler systems, and some electrical cables as well. Importantly, though, the external power supplies were not affected and radiation levels at the plant remain normal. Russia and Ukraine both accuse each other of the shelling. The head of the IAEA, Rafael Grossi, condemned it as a close call, and there have been several instances of shelling at the plant over the past few months or so. And there's now actually increasing concern of damage causing a serious nuclear incident there. Actually, probably at this point, more likely to see a nuclear accident in Ukraine than Russian use nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, fighting remains concentrated in the east and the south of Ukraine, and Russia continuing to target Ukraine's energy and other infrastructure, causing some serious power and water supply problems in several parts of the country. But at the moment, still, we don't see anything other than a prolonged conflict, with Vladimir Putin and Russia likely to kind of keep the conflict going in an attempt to weaken support for Ukraine from the US, EU, and UK, because that support is really critical for Ukraine's success in the war. That's it from us this week. We hope you enjoyed the content, and we hope you'll join us again soon.